good Wednesday evening to you, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on Unscripted. Well, the day started off a little wet and a little cool, but as the day progressed, started to dry up a bit and get a little warmer. But you can't see a lot of sunshine and blue skies out there because of all of that wildfire smoke. So, Joe, more smoke lingering in the skies for our Thursday?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be similar to today. Now, we had a lot of clouds this morning, but those are moving on. But still, we have that hazy sky. Some smoke overhead, which we'll deal with tomorrow as well, probably even into a little bit of Friday coming up here. A nice day coming up, though, tomorrow. We're going to get rid of the rain, which we have pretty much now, and we'll get back into the 70s. So it should be a pretty nice end to the week coming up here. We'll look at that and what to expect for the weekend. One of the 2 days, maybe a little rain. We'll explain a little later.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Joe. Our top story tonight, as the federal budget is being debated in Washington, here in Michigan, Governor Whitmer says that the proposed funding cuts to SNAP are detrimental to Michigan families. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program serves about 1.5 million Michiganders. That program, of course, once known as food stamps. And our Allie Baxter shows us the potential local impact.
Is the need growing, and can we keep up with it? Hopefully.
Salvation Army Social Services Supervisor Patty Steele sees a lot of people come through this cafeteria every week. Many are new faces,
which makes the need just grow and grow and grow.
Lawmakers at the federal level are discussing potential funding cuts to SNAP. The program helps people and families with low income afford food.
Regardless of where you come down on the politics of what's happening with the administration's executive orders, funding rescissions, the spending bill that's moving through the Congress, or the tariffs that have been imposed, there are real consequences for our region that could have negative impacts on the way we do business.
The Northwest Michigan Community Development Coalition sent a letter this week to lawmakers saying funding cuts to programs like SNAP will have a detrimental effect, citing in April alone, 14,000 people in the region received food assistance.
This is not just a communication to members of Congress in Washington. This is really to the public here at large, just expressing some concerns that we've got about the impact of these spending cuts.
Patty sees the impact of those cuts at the Salvation Army's weekly community meals and market. She says 59 households used the market Wednesday. Last week, it was 70.
So we have a lot of people we serve in 1 hour, twice a week with that food market. The question is, can all the stores, can all the people keep giving enough to take care of the population's growing needs? I don't know.
So where does a lot of that food in the market come from? Food Rescue, a distributor that brings 78 regional pantries food each week.
So last year, there was a 41% increase in food pantry usage, but there was only a 2% increase in the amount of food that we were distributing out to the food pantries.
Taylor Moore is the Food Rescue Director. He and Patty both say they rely on donations and the generosity of the community. But even the generosity of others may not be enough to keep up with the demand.
It will look different than it did before because we can't simply go out and get 41% more food.
It's really important that people come in and they leave feeling like they have self-worth and dignity. That is as important as how many groceries they have in that bag.
In northern Michigan, Allie Baxter, UpNorthLive News.
And again, right now, these are just proposed cuts to the SNAP program. They have not officially been voted on yet. Well, switching gears here, I'm sure all of us have something that's been maybe sitting in our garage for a while, in the back of the closet, that you've thought about, maybe I should just dump it, put it in the trash. Well, what if instead of throwing it away, you could give it new life? From busted toasters to wobbly bike wheels to that moth-eaten sweater, it's a job for the Repair Cafe. The one-day only event put on by the Traverse Area District Library will see skilled volunteers pair off with attendees to use their knowledge to turn trash back into treasure.
The library is built on a model of reusing items over and over again, like our books check out many times. And so we think this just falls into that same idea, is that people will say, you know, maybe I can get this fixed instead of throwing it in the garbage and continue the life of the object that they have.
And the Repair Cafe is on June 14th. Again, the event is one day only. It runs from 10 in the morning to 2 o'clock at the main library on Woodmere Ave in Traverse City. And we heard from the library director there in that soundbite. Well, now we're going to hear from another party involved with the Repair Cafe. Our guest tonight, let's welcome Christina Schneff with Green Door Folk School. Hey, Christina, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So let's start off with the basics. What exactly is Green Door Folk School?
Of course. Green Door Folk School is a new, as of March this year, educational environment, primarily for adults at this point, that teaches traditional skills and craft and things that involve learning skills that are useful, fulfilling, and also sustainable, or creating more sustainable life skills. So think things like wood carving and cooking with from the farmer's market, and quilting and things like that.
Very cool. So I think I may know the answer to this next question, but with all that being said, what is Green Door Folk School's role in this Repair Cafe?
Yeah, we've been wanting to do, I say been wanting, we've only existed for a couple months, but we wanted from the beginning to do a number of community based programs that don't involve, booking a class or things like that. And so Repair Cafe was something that we really wanted to do. And I had been talking with the library about ways to partner, and we identified this opportunity as being absolutely perfect for us to be able to help organize the Repair Cafe with all of the resources that the library can provide from a physical standpoint, as well as other resources. And so working with them has been an absolute pleasure, and we're super excited to partner with them on this project.
And so we mentioned that different skilled volunteers will be taking different things that the community brings them and tries to fix them. Will those volunteers be from the school then?
No, they're actually from the community. We've put out a call to volunteer, or to people who would be interested in volunteering in 4 primary areas, in garment repair, or textiles, things like that, wood, furnishings, that sort of thing. Small electronics is another area, and then bike repair. And we have had a number of people come forward that are interested in helping in those different areas. A surprising number, actually. We would still love more, especially in our in electronics and bike repair. And you can just go to the Green Door folkschool.com website to register to be a fixer.
So we mentioned a couple of examples earlier of things that people can bring in to hopefully get fixed. So we mentioned a toaster, maybe a bike wheel, and clothes. What are some other things? I know you mentioned kind of the different categories, but if someone at home is watching this and thinking I have this in my garage, I wonder if I could bring this in. What are some of the other items that people could bring in?
Any small electronics. We've heard from others that have done repair cafes that there are a lot of small electronics, or small appliances, lamps, toasters, blenders, alarm clocks, whatever, things that people have set aside and don't use anymore because there's something wrong with it. And so those we hear are very popular items, but then also, holes in your hole in a shirt or in a sock or whatever, or even just things. My bike, brakes are squeaking, things like that. So anything that's kind of annoying or causing you to not use an item that you would like to continue using. Is fair game. The thing we're not doing is like phones and computers.
Gotcha. Well, it sounds like a really great idea. And you mentioned that you've been getting some tips from other repair cafes. So where did you come up with the idea? Where did you first hear about this? And how common are repair cafes around the area?
Around the area, I'm not sure of any others that I've heard of. There are others in the U.S. That have been done, but the program that we're kind of following and using as a guide is a Dutch from the Netherlands initiated program, and they are advocating for repair cafes for to minimize waste and improve the amount of things that people continue to use without having to repurchase. And that program has been helpful in identifying the tools we need and the number of resources and things like that. It's kind of helped simplify a little bit.
And so on June 14th, if things go well, if you have a lot of people coming to get some different items repaired, is this something that the school and the library are hoping to do again in the future, or is it just truly a one-day only thing?
No, absolutely. We would love to do it again a few times a year, even if it all goes well. We keep talking about next time even. So we definitely have that in our future, assuming there's a good response and the community wants it.
And something we haven't talked about yet, but I'm assuming that this is free, right, for the community?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's meant to be an opportunity for people to get things fixed, obviously, but also learn how to fix things. So the idea is that you'll bring your item, you will be paired with a fixer, and then you will work with them to repair your item. So the hope is that people also carry some skills away as well as a repaired item, so that they can feel more confident in doing those kinds of repairs themselves in the future.
Sure. Well, this is so awesome. Thank you, Christina, so much for joining us tonight and sharing a little more about the Repair Cafe happening at the Traverse Area District Library in Woodmere, June 14th. Head over to our website, UpNorthLive.com, for some more details. All right, before the break, we are exploring Michigan once again and taking a sneak peek at Shepler's Lighthouse Cruises. So starting next week, you can get an up-close view on different lighthouses on Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. Here is our Daniel Zivian with more.
The Straits of Mackinac are dotted with lighthouses, but to see most of them for yourself, you'll need a pair of binoculars or models from the gift shop. Shepler's Ferry offers a 3-hour tour at 30 miles per hour.
Our 3-hour cruise covers east and westbound. A 4-hour cruise is our extended eastbound. Our 4.5-hour lighthouse cruise is our extended westbound. And then we have our 5-hour Lake Chanel Lighthouse Cruise. We have narration on our lighthouse cruises by the Great Lakes Lighthouse Keepers Association, and we usually have Jim Tamlin as our main narrator for the whole season.
Once it's there, unless it fails, it's not really much of a story. It does its job. It's the people and the history and the storms and the shipwrecks and what these people go through and have gone through. That is the pride and ownership of a community of its lighthouse.
Tamlin says his work goes beyond enthusiasm. Proceeds from both the cruise and the gift shop fund maintenance work at 2 local lighthouses.
Out on St. Helena, we've just finished the boathouse roof, putting cedar shake shingles on it, which started last fall and finished this spring. It's paying for those products, and most of the work is done by volunteers.
In Mackinac City, I'm Daniel Zivian reporting.
And let's take a quick look at our question of the day. Have you ever been to a lighthouse in Michigan? Scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote. And also over on our Facebook page, you can leave a comment on which lighthouse or lighthouses you have been to. And a couple people are leaving pictures too. So we can't show those on air, but you can certainly enjoy other people's lighthouse pictures. So if you want to do that, that is more than welcome. All right, let's take a quick commercial break, but Joe will have much more on the forecast for the end of our work week and a look ahead to the weekend straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back. Well, it's shaping up to be a pretty nice evening across northern Michigan. It is dry, still a little cool, but again, that wildfire smoke is just hanging on. So, Joe, what can we expect for the forecast tomorrow?
Yeah, I think kind of the same thing. I know we had part of the day, we had some rain today, especially the first half of the day. We won't see that. But still, as you said, Maya, some smoke still hanging around. I think tomorrow also, even part of Friday. And you can kind of see it here. That's outside of our studios near Traverse City, looking off to the west. And it just the hazy look to the sky there because of that smoke. And we'll start with that. We have a number of counties outlined in gray under air quality alerts. Now, these expire at different times. We just cover such a large area, so it depends what county you're in. But you get the basic gist of things here. Air quality alerts in effect for all the gray shaded areas, some until tomorrow afternoon, other spots until late Thursday night to very early on Friday because of the air quality out there. Here's a look at the air quality right now. A lot of yellows, which means moderate particulate matter in the air, although it's kind of covered up by the word Traverse City. But Traverse City, the R, under the R, it's in the unhealthy category there. So the same thing in parts of southern Wisconsin, all due to that smoke. Now, here's what we think will happen with that. Smoke will kind of sit over us through tomorrow morning. You see the clock up there in the upper left. And then it may disperse a little bit more by Friday. But I'll run this back and then again forward. There it is. The smoke kind of just hanging on in the sky over northern Michigan. Now, we did have a cold front pass that brought in the rain. There it is now. Little pressure downstate. The front has cleared our area, so it is cooler. It's not cold or anything like that. But yesterday we had some spots like Sheboygan in the upper 80s. Today you're in the 60s. So it has cooled down behind that front. 60s, a couple spots, Grayling, Cadillac, Newberry, Sault Ste. Marie sitting in the low end of the 70s. And there is a look at that rain. A few areas did pick up almost an inch of rainfall. That's what it looked like last night. There's this morning, that rain moving along our front. And here's a look at things right now. So we'll stop the radar. Here's 6:45. And again, pretty dry, pretty quiet. All right, Stormcast. Here's what we expect with that. So again, hazy skies, which this doesn't really pick up on the smoke. But tomorrow, a slight chance in the UP for a stray shower in the afternoon along the lake breeze. I doubt it, though. Nice day. There's Friday, a little more cloud cover Friday, especially up north. And Friday evening, maybe a shower or two there up across parts of the eastern UP. And then a nice start to our weekend as we head into Saturday. And here's a little look at the weekend forecast. Upper 60s, low 70s Saturday, partly to mostly sunny. And then Sunday, that's the day where we get some rain. It looks like later in the day, but rain arrives during the day Sunday. So if you have plans, things you need to do outdoors, Saturday looks to be the better of the 2 days. And there you go, the extended forecast. So pretty quiet, comfortable next day or two, just a slight chance up north for a shower or two. And then later Sunday is when that rain comes in. I do think showers will hang around into early next week. A little cool early next week too. We drop back into the 60s, Maya.
That's not too cool, though. We can handle the 60s.
Better than 40s, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe. We're going to take another quick break, but stay with us. Sports is next. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted. Baseball regionals are in full swing across northern Michigan. For a look at the matchups, let's turn things over to Sports Director Harrison Beebe.
A busy day on the high school baseball calendar as we shift into regional semifinals with regional finals and super regionals to be played later. We got teams spread out over all 4 divisions playing games today, from Traverse City West in Division 1 to a handful of teams in Division 4. So let's go ahead and take a look at who we have still in the running with a chance to compete for a state championship next week. We start with the Titans. They're going to be taking on Bay City Western at Traverse City Central High School. Road game for the Titans, but a place they won the district at the other day. So hoping for some more magic there. Petoskey in Division 2, the Northmen have made some deep runs in the baseball postseasons as of late. They got to face Kingston in a regional semifinal today. Also in D2, Ludington meets up with Standish Sterling. To Division 3 we go. Traverse City, St. Francis, and Elk Rapids crossing paths for an intriguing matchup here in the regional semifinals. Everett and Hart also meeting up in the regional semifinal in D3, and Roscommon taking on Pinconning. We head now to Division 4, where we mentioned a familiar face that's made deep runs in the playoffs. Glen Lake, the Lakers, taking on the Marion Eagles in their regional semifinal. Bear Lake and Muskegon Catholic meeting up in the other half of that region. And staying in Division 4, it's Pickford going up against Harbor Light Christian. And also in Division 4, Gaylord St. Mary meeting up with Lincoln Alcona, and a matchup we saw last year that was a good one, and we'll see what happens again this time around. Inland Lakes taking on East Jordan. We'll have a full recap of baseball regional semis tonight during Sports at 11, and as we mentioned, winners of today's games advance to Saturday to take part in the regional finals. Of course, if you're a baseball fan, you're keeping an eye on the Tigers, crossing the 40-win threshold the other night, and now they're facing the White Sox for the 3rd game of this 4-game series on the south side. That'll get started at 7:40 tonight. The Traverse City Pittsbitters also on the road down in Kenosha, taking on the Kingfish. See what happens in that meeting for the Pittsbitters return home. And the big one on the ice, the Stanley Cup Finals, gets started tonight with Game 1. It's in Edmonton. Although the rematch between the Oilers and Florida Panthers was won by the Panthers a year ago in 7 games. What will happen this year? We'll find out at the end of the series. It gets started tonight. Puck drop at 8 o'clock. That'll do it for sports. I'm Harrison Beebe.
All right, let's take a quick break, but we'll check out the live results for our question of the day in just a few minutes.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today is, have you ever been to a lighthouse in Michigan? No surprise, really, that 94% of Viewers voted yes. Over on Facebook, Nathan says, I'm lucky to live 1 mile from the Manistee Lighthouse. Yes, Nathan, you are very lucky. Listen to this. Jennifer says, I visited all but a handful of them, and I photographed all but 3. Very impressive. I'd love to see some of these photographs. You can send them in to our hot shots. And Dan, our director in the back, says, yes, my wife and I went to the Old Mission Peninsula for a day trip on our anniversary last weekend and stopped at the lighthouse. That's a great lighthouse to visit as well. So many great ones across northern Michigan. All right, that'll do it for Unscripted. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here at 11 o'clock tonight.